There is some new polling out in the 2026 Senate races, and this polling is according to Fox News. Now, the polling here is very significant. It came out last night, but I didn't quite have time to make a video last night on this polling. But today we're going to talk about multiple races, these 5 races that Fox News released polling about, and we're going to talk a little bit more about what this means on the national level if these polls are true like we predict they might be. So for starters, I want to point out a couple of things that aren't super surprising on here, and that includes Georgia and North Carolina. Ossoff, we've always said on this channel, is the clear favorite to win that Senate race, especially with the Republican nominee in that race being decided. It's ultimately Ossoff's race to lose. We predict that he would win, and that's been our current prediction. We've not really swayed away from that. Ossoff's a clear favorite in the state of Georgia. However, this margin of 13% is something that I do find significant, and one that I wouldn't have quite realized was true. I think more of maybe 8%, 7%, somewhere around that range is something that I'm thinking about, but 13% is a very clear victory, and if Ossoff wins by that, that would be actually a very, very solid margin, and one that Republicans should be worried about if he ends up pulling off a victory like that. The other state I want to talk about is North Carolina, another non-surpriser here. If you've been following my channel for any length of time, you know that I believe Roy Cooper is the clear favorite. Every indicator points to that. Betting odds, polling, everyone thinks that Roy Cooper is going to win this race. He's going to be one candidate that Democrats are going to have an opportunity to flip a seat that's currently held by Republicans. And it seems very likely at this point that he wins. That 9% margin, also not too surprising. Maybe a little less would be my personal opinion on this race, but not really super surprising there. The 3 races that I found very interesting with these poll numbers out, my apologies, is the states of Ohio, Iowa, and Texas. These 3 are very significant, and for Fox News to be saying that all 3 are trending Democrat towards Democrats winning these 3 races is something very significant and something that Republicans should be paying a lot of attention to. So let's start by talking about the state of Ohio. Sherrod Brown is the former senator from this state. He had won statewide in the state of Ohio multiple times before losing that race back in 2024, decided to run again here in 2026, and ultimately, according to Fox News at least, he's a favorite to win this race. Now, this race has shifted on the VoteHub margin and shows that Sherrod Brown currently has about a 50.7% chance of winning, and winning by a margin of about 0.2 percentage points. Now, if this is true, this is absolutely significant and something that Republicans also should be paying attention to. This is a race that Republicans should be able to win in the state of Ohio, considering its trends in the past few election cycles, and considering that just 2 years ago they defeated who Democrats are putting up as their nominee again. But nonetheless, an important race, and one that, if this margin is true, is very significant for Republicans. Losing this race would be a very bad deal for them. The other state, this one really did send me for a loop. I'm very surprised here, is the state of Iowa. Now, if you remember back, I think we've talked about this race, but not on the Senate level. Instead, we've talked a bit about it on the governor's level, because that race seems to be a little closer. In that race, Rob Sand is running for governor, and ultimately this very strong candidate for Democrats who actually has an opportunity to flip the state of Iowa in its governor's mansion in the 2026 midterms. But the Senate level wasn't something that I've been paying too much attention to. Now, of course, as I've been reading through some of your comments and stuff on some of my videos, it appears that some of you guys also believe that this race is within contention for Democrats to win. Currently, VoteHub has Ashley Hinson sitting at about 65% chance of winning this race with about a 2.7% margin. Now, in the state of Iowa, that's very significant, a very small number, a 2.7% margin. And if that's true, then Democrats really have an opportunity to spend more money here. And if they're able to win in states like Ohio and Texas, like this other Fox News poll says, there's a clear shot for Iowa to be in that mix where Democrats could flip multiple races this cycle, giving them not just a 1-seat majority, but perhaps a 2 or 3-seat majority come after the 2026 midterms in the next Congress. Now, I don't necessarily think that this is a slam dunk for Democrats or a slam dunk for Republicans for that matter. I just believe it's a race that we need to start talking a little bit more about. And as the months go on, I'm going to pay more attention to this Iowa Senate race, and it's probably something that I'm going to start making videos on every couple of weeks or so, because this is something very significant, and the fact that Democrats have an opportunity to not only win the governor's race here, but also perhaps a Senate race is very important. Now, that final poll is out of Texas, and if you've been following my channel for any length of time, I believe that James Talarico has a real shot of flipping Texas for the first time in years in that statewide. James Talarico, this very strong candidate for Democrats, who Democrats have decided to run in this race, and is running against Ken Paxton, this flawed candidate who is impeached by his own party, kind of this disgraced type candidate who Trump decided to endorse at the last minute, ultimately went on to win in that runoff race, and now is facing off against James Talarico. This Fox News poll says that Talarico is leading by 3 percentage points here. So, very significant nonetheless. If there's a 3% margin of error here, there's no information on the margin of error according to this. I'm sure I could do a little bit more digging and find that. But say the margin of error is 3%, this means that this race is dead even according to Fox News polling. James Talarico sitting at a point where he's plus 3 percentage points with a reliable A-rated pollster on Fox News is significant. Texas, another race that we've been talking about on this channel for a significant amount of time, and currently VoteHub has only shrinked its margin, sitting about a 0.5% victory for Ken Paxton, and only about a 52.5% chance that Ken Paxton actually wins this race. Still sitting this race as a toss-up race, one that Democrats absolutely have the opportunity to win. It's going to be about who Democrats can pull out, and can they pull out enough people to vote in this 2026 midterm election in the state of Texas to end up flipping this race. I ultimately believe that it's absolutely possible, and this Fox News polling only suggests that as well. So with these new Fox News polling, this suggests that Texas, Iowa, Ohio, Georgia, and North Carolina all go to the Democrats. Now, this is very, very significant, because if that's the case, if we're currently sitting at where we are here, where Maine's going to go blue, Ohio's going to go blue, North Carolina's going to go blue, Georgia's going to go blue, Michigan's going to go blue, and we have Iowa and Texas added in on that, that's a 53 Democrat majority to 47 Republicans. Remind you, that's only if Iowa and Texas both went to the Democrats, which VoteHub does not currently say is true, but Fox News polling suggests might be. Now, I want to talk a little bit about why this is important. Well, if we go to the Fox News polling on the National Job Approval Ratings average, we see that Donald Trump is sitting at a disapproval amongst overall voters. This green line here is sitting at a disapproval of about 61 percentage points to approved of by 39%. Now, if you've been following my channel, we've talked about this as well. I'm just talking about Fox News today because this is the polling that we're looking at on the Senate level, so I'm going to go ahead and match it to that of the National Job Approval Ratings. And all the polling that I've seen suggests something around this average, about a 60% disapproval for Donald Trump on the national level. And that's no surprise. Donald Trump is not widely approved of, and it's no surprise here in this polling, and it's no surprise when we look at other polling as well. This contributes to the fact that Democrats have a real opportunity to win these races in North Carolina, in Georgia, in Iowa, in Ohio, in Texas. These are states that Democrats have a chance to flip, and it's because of these disastrous approval ratings for Donald Trump, sitting at a disapproval lower than Trump's first term, lower than Biden's term. This is significant, and it's something that Republicans should be sounding the alarm bells on. The fact that Fox News is now suggesting that Democrats are the clear favorites to win Senate control is something that Republicans should be paying a lot of attention to if they do plan to eke out a victory in the Senate in the 2026 midterms. So finally, I want to talk about a couple of things. The first being this 2018 Senate race in Texas, and that is important because I've seen your comments. You guys have been saying that, well, Beto O'Rourke was about to win Texas. He was within 2 percentage points. So what's going to be different this time? Well, for starters, let's look at polling. I mean, if we go back to polls conducted in 2018 on this race, Beto O'Rourke wasn't leading in any polls. If we switch that to the 2026 midterms for the Texas Senate race, James Tallarico is leading in polling, and leading in reliable pollsters as well. So another thing I also want to pay attention to is just for context here, I've pulled the 2022 Senate race in the state of Pennsylvania. And I did that because it was easy to find that Fox News had conducted polling here. Most of the time, Fox News doesn't conduct polling unless the race really is close. For instance, they conducted polling on the 2021 Virginia governor's race, but they didn't in 2025 governor's race. So, here we have, back in September of 2022, Fox News sitting at about a 4% margin, 4%, 3%, overall, somewhere around 3 to 4% margin for that of John Fetterman winning against Mehmet Oz back in 2022. Fast forward to right before Election Day, October 26th through October 30th, about a 3% margin according to Fox News. What did John Fetterman do? Actually beat that margin. John Fetterman won this race by about 5 percentage points back in 2022. Now, this is significant because this says that Democrats were actually underestimated in polling back in 2022. And if that's the case in 2026, then we could see a Tallarico +5 victory. We could see a Turek +6 victory. We could see a Brown +10 victory. We could see a Cooper +11 victory. A Ossoff +15 victory. A margin Ossoff could win by, similar to that of Abigail Spanberger winning the governor's race in the Commonwealth of Virginia in 2025. Now, for context, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that we're going to see Ossoff win by 15 points. I don't think Tallarico is going to win by 5 points. I don't believe Cooper is going to win by over 10 percentage points. But it's significant because if Democrats are underestimated, then there's a real shot that Democrats actually could overperform some of these polling averages and win a lot more races than we're currently paying attention to. So with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you guys sticking through this video. This was a little bit longer of a video, but I wanted to really stick the points and talk about all 5 of these races and what they mean and how it's going to impact going forward. So with that said, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to leave your comments down below, your thoughts. What do you guys believe is going to happen in all 5 of these races that Fox News has done polling on? Do you believe that Democrats will eke out victories here, or do you believe that Republicans ultimately have the upper hand? I'd love to read through those comments of yours, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you guys again so much for watching.